Good morning, guys. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning today. It is raining and it is cloudy and it's overcast as shit. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about body dysmorphic disorder, or BDD for short. And this is definitely something that I've struggled with in the past years and quite severely as well. But I also just kind of wanted to touch base on it because I feel like it's something that so many people struggle with, and yet, I mean, it's talked about, but it's not talked about enough, kind of like so many things in life. So that's why I kind of thought I would make a little video on it today. So getting started with this video, I wanted to start off with just getting a few assumptions out of the way about BDD. Body dysmorphic disorder is not about vanity. It's not about being a vain person at all. Definitely not. You can have BDD without having an eating disorder. Yes, they do go hand in hand, and we'll kind of talk about that later, but there are so many people out there that have BDD and don't have an ED, which is kind of also similar to number 3, which is that BDD is not always about body weight. It can be about the smallest or largest part of your body. It doesn't matter. If you go onto Google and you actually look up the definition of body dysmorphic disorder, this is what's going to come up. It says a psychological disorder in which a person becomes obsessed with imaginary defects in their appearance. And for the last one, body dysmorphic disorder is not always caused by social media, which is something that tends to kind of be thought, from what I've heard and from what I've noticed in just kind of the general population, but that's not true. It is sometimes caused by what we see and how we see other people that can bring on BDD, but it can be caused by so many other things like negative life experiences. It can be passed on through your family, so it can be a genetic thing as well. It can be caused by neglect or even bullying of some kind growing up. So there are multiple ways that can come on, and it's not always about what we see on social media. There are different kinds of treatments for body dysmorphic disorder. A lot of them are different kinds of therapy. So that can include things like behavioral therapy, psychotherapy, cognitive therapy, and also medications like SSRIs, which will be prescribed to you by your doctor. And of course, I'm also a firm believer in the fact that you can cure yourself from BDD. I don't want anyone to come for me when I say that. I'm not saying that you can always cure your own mental illnesses, but I do believe that you can. So for example, I didn't do any kind of therapy. I did get over my body dysmorphic disorder on my own, and so I'm a firm believer that you can find ways that will work for you. Before I let you know the ways that I struggle with BDD, I also just wanted to make it very clear that I'm no longer the same person that I used to be. I would feel quite confident sitting here and saying that I'm no longer someone that struggles with body dysmorphic disorder, which is quite amazing to be able to say. But I just wanted to let you know that I do not feel the way that I'm going to be explained to you. I don't do the things that I used to do, and I'm definitely not obsessive over my appearance anymore. A few years ago, I struggled with it so badly. Like it really did consume a lot of my life, and mine definitely did come from my eating disorder. They definitely went hand in hand, and I know that that is the case for so many people as well. So I feel quite comfortable sitting here talking about it with you guys today. So for me, there were 5 different areas on my body that I was extremely obsessed with a few years ago. And those things were my calves, my shoulders, my face, my stomach, and my entire body. So, I mean, saying my entire body kind of sums up everything. I could have just said that at the start, but they were very specific, and I'll kind of get a little bit more into that. So for me, the first one that I said was my calves, and yes, I think that if you've got BDD and you're watching this video, you'd be like, I understand having something that no one would ever think of. Like some people, it might be their elbows, it might be their nose, it might be their ears, it could be their knees, you know, it might sound funny to someone who hasn't had BDD, but that's the reality. It's not always, you know, someone's stomach or necessarily the weight on their body, you know. It can be small things that other people wouldn't even notice. So yeah, for me, my first one was definitely my calves. I was just always so convinced and kind of fixated on them because I believed that they were just way too big. Even at my smaller size, my calves never shrunk, and I can say that quite firmly because even though I got quite low, I was so obsessed with my body that I used to measure every single part of me. So I knew for a fact that my calves weren't shrinking, and that was kind of what caused my obsession with them. I just always thought that they were way too big. I was way too self-conscious to ever wear skirts or shorts, purely because I thought that everyone would always be staring at my calves and thinking like, wow, they're so huge. And you know, I get that it sounds silly, like I'm sitting here now and I realize that sounds ridiculous, but that was my reality. And to kind of explain just how serious it got, I seriously went online and looked into calf reduction surgery, which yes, is a thing. And no, I didn't do it. And yes, I'm very glad that I didn't do it. So my second one was my shoulders. I always used to think that I was way too broad. I thought I couldn't wear anything that showed my shoulders, hence why I'm popping them out for this video. I used to just think that they were absolutely way too broad, and I honestly, when people would get their cameras out or their phones out to take a photo, I hated standing in the middle of anyone because I felt like if two people were on either side of me, I would just be like the Hulk in the middle and I would just take up all the space in the photo. So I would actually try my hardest to always stand at the edge of a line so I could kind of hide one shoulder behind someone else. That sounds so crazy. In winter, I didn't want to wear multiple layers because I thought I'm already so broad. If I wear lots of layers, that I'm just gonna be even more broad and take up even more space. Like it was awful. I couldn't wear big coats. I couldn't stay warm, which was a serious issue back then. The next one was definitely my stomach. Now, this one I know for, like, I think that they were all stemmed from my eating disorder, but my stomach in particular, because I didn't eat enough back then, I was always just consuming so much water, and so I was always so bloated, and then I became fixated on that. So because I was always bloated, I never wanted to wear tight clothing. I always wanted to wear loose and oversized things, which made me look even sicker because I was just, you know, this small human under all these big baggy clothes. And that wasn't me trying to hide my weight. That was me being afraid of people seeing my stomach and thinking that I was overweight, which is just, I mean, I thought that when I was the sickest I've ever been, I seriously thought that people would look at my stomach and see how bloated I was and think that my stomach was overweight. Like, so bad. I honestly wouldn't even buy bathers or anything like that. If people said they wanted to go swimming, I would get actually angry, like literally get angry. When people were having pool parties, I wouldn't go. I'd be like, oh, I'll come later. You know, once they get out of the pool, I'll go. I never wanted to wear bathers. I would never be, if I did have to wear bathers, it would definitely be a one piece and I'd probably wear clothes over the top. I would never, ever wear a bikini, and I didn't for years. And it killed me to do pole dancing. It really killed me, but that's another story. I actually honestly only bought my first bikini in years, like years and years, a couple of weeks ago. And let me tell you, that was such a I'm just getting a little bit sidetracked, but that was the healthiest thing I've done in so long. I was so excited to get the bikini. I was aware that it would be an experience because I hadn't worn one in so many years and I knew why I hadn't worn one. But I was also just kind of like, this is another huge part of my recovery in general, is wanting to buy a bikini. I bought the bikini, I put it on, and then I was like, you know what? Everyone has days where they look in the mirror and they're not really feeling themselves. Everyone has like bad body days, okay? That's normal. But I looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what? Today's a good body day. This bikini looks stunning on you, baby. And I can't even tell you how happy that made me feel that I was wearing a bikini that made me feel good about myself after all these years. Anyway, got so sidetracked. So the next thing that my body dysmorphic disorder affected was my face. This one, 100%, no question, stemmed from bulimia, and it's the only one that I still deal with on some level today. So, my face. So many people that struggle with bulimia are going to hit this level with me. They're just going to be like, girl, I feel you. Because when you have bulimia, and from what I've noticed in the past, particularly when you binge and purge, your face is going to swell. Not everyone knows this. Only people with eating disorders know this. Unless you've been told, I don't think the regular human would pick up on this. But yes, when you are bulimic, your face will swell. And that is because a couple reasons. One, when you induce vomiting, so when you make yourself throw up, you're obviously irritating your throat because you know why. So your glands under your neck here, in this area, your glands are going to puff up. They're going to fill with water, and it's a protection thing. It's your body trying to protect your throat, your gland, this whole neck, jaw region. So your throat is going to puff up. You just kind of get to the point where it's just kind of like face, neck. Like your face just kind of molds into your neck and you don't really have a jawline anymore because this whole area here gets so swollen that it's just kind of like I hate myself. The next reason why your face will swell is because the stomach acid, oh man, so many people hearing those words are just like, oh boy, oh buddy, I feel you. The stomach acid will make your cheeks puff because obviously stomach acid, I mean, that shit is vile. Have you ever, if you don't have an eating disorder, have you ever gone out drinking and then you've thrown up and then at the end you throw up and there's nothing left in your stomach, so that green yellow crap just comes up? That's stomach acid, and that makes your cheeks puff. So, long story, I became obsessed with my face and obsessed with the fact that it was always swollen, because for a few years I was, like I've said in other videos, I was severely bulimic, like binging and purging multiple times every single day. So my face was so swollen, so swollen. I hated getting in photos. I hated being on video camera. So hi new me, what's up? Every single morning it's the first thing I would think of when I woke up. I would look at my face 10 times. If I ever walked past a mirror or if I ever walked past some kind of window and saw my reflection, I would make sure I looked at it and I would look at my face. Like I couldn't help it. I was severely obsessed. Like any mirror, in the car, in someone else's car, like a reflection of their car, like anything you can think of, I would stop or I would glance and I would look at my face constantly and be so overly aware that my face was swollen and everyone must think I was just like a potato head or something. And for the very last one, when I say my entire body, like I said before, obviously I could have just said that and that could have covered everything, but I found that they were quite specific things. But when I say entire body, I mean that I was constantly taking photos of myself, like, which is funny because I just said that I hated being in photos, but this was a whole nother kind of level of photos. These were like body checks, and that just makes me feel ill saying that word, like remembering what I used to do. But my phone was just filled with all these private photo apps, just filled with images of my body, just hundreds and hundreds of pretty much the same photo taken from a slightly different angle, because I was convinced that the reflection that I saw wasn't me. Because I would look in the mirror sometimes and be like, yeah, that's what I look like I'm not that small, I'm not that thin. And then I would catch myself every now and again and I would just think, what? That's not, I don't look like that. And so I would get my phone out and I would take all these photos and I would be like, oh my God, I would look at these photos and think I'm so sick because I was so small on camera. And I would always send videos to my friends. We would send videos back and forth just to chat. And I would look at some of those and on the day I would be like, yeah, I look fine. I look absolutely fine. And then I would go back and I'd watch them a week later and I would think, oh my God, is that what everyone sees? Like, am I actually that sick looking? And my mind was just playing tricks on me the whole time. And so when I say that I took a million photos, I did, because I never knew what I was looking at. And I never knew if what I saw at one moment was real or if what I was seeing the next moment was real. And it was the biggest mental, you know what, to live with, because I never knew the truth. I never ever knew if I was truly sick or not, or if I was a certain weight or not. It was awful. I know this video might have been a little bit all over the shop. I'm really sorry if it was. It was just, I just wanted to sit down and just kind of blurt it all out and be like, this is what it's like. This is what I had to deal with. It's not easy. It's definitely not about vanity, which I know a couple of things I said, someone could easily be like, oh, but you took all those photos. That's definitely vain. But no, it's not. It's definitely not. It's an obsessive thing. It's a compulsive thing. Like, you feel like you have no choice. And there are actually some amazing videos that I'm going to link below in the description box, and they're going to be videos based on body dysmorphic disorder. They definitely do a better job at explaining it than I probably did. But one video in particular that I'm going to make sure I put first in the description box is a video that shows someone how two people see an image of themselves when they look at it. So it will show someone without BDD and they'll see an image of themselves and it will show the way they look at that image. Then the next one will be someone with body dysmorphic disorder and how that person sees the image. And it is very, very interesting. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was definitely not one that I had planned originally on making, but I kind of thought, you know, it goes hand in hand with what I have been talking about. And if you guys would like to see a video based on how I recovered from my body dysmorphic disorder, I would definitely love to do that. But I did think that that would be a video all on its own. So that's up to you. If you'd like to see it, let me know. Otherwise, you can leave any other comment that you like. I love you guys so, so much. Thank you to anyone who watched the video the whole way through, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.